Music, industry talk, stories, equipment and more. We are Crossfader and this is off the record. Off the record. Off the record.
Welcome back to the podcast again. My name is Jamie Hartley, the founder and DJ tutor here at Crossfader. In this podcast, we're going to be breaking down all things DJ related, from industry to techniques to equipment and more. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about leveling up as a DJ. In episode 2, we talked a lot about how to get your first DJ gigs and break your way into the industry. But then once you've got in the industry, where are you going to take it? And what are those next steps that you can be doing to get to that next level? So to help me break this down, I've got Lawrence James to my left.
Yo, yo.
And we've got Danny James to my right.
Hey, hey.
And Holland, who you might have seen in the previous episodes, isn't here today because he's playing out on a yacht in Greece for Yacht Week. So we're actually going to call him at some point in this episode and get some insight into why he's out there and how he got out there, because that's a big step for him. And yeah, we'll talk to him soon. But first of all, let's just get stuck straight in. So last episode, you guys were involved in the last episode as well.
Yep.
And we talked about getting that first step into the DJ industry.
Yep.
But as we've all been through that phase, we get some residencies. A DJ will get some regular slots. Maybe it's at a local club, a local bar, or even you're just getting regular slots doing bookings for weddings or corporate events or anything like that. And then you're doing that for a year even, maybe longer, and you think, well, where am I going with this? How can I take it to the next level? I'm looking around me and there are DJs traveling up and down the country or around the country that I live in. And they seem to be doing way more than I am, but I feel like I'm a confident enough DJ. I'm as good as them. So how have they got there and how can I get there? Yeah. So let's just sort of go for it. I'd quite like to hear about the transition that you guys made. Are there any standout gigs that you thought, right, this is next level. This is something beyond what my regular gig is. And then anything that you can give to the audience or the listener as to how you got there, or if there was any particular transition that happened.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, patience is going to have to be the first thing. Yep. It's not going to happen overnight. There's a lot that goes into it. We're talking, you need experience as a DJ, you need the network, you need to build up the contacts, and don't expect to be playing in a bar for like a couple of weeks and then, get a major kind of residency and go that way. So patience with it initially. But yeah, I reckon I was playing warm-up gigs for maybe 6 to 8 months, something like that, in and around my local area. And just eventually through networking, meeting new people, taking gigs, a few of them early doors, taking gigs for free as well, just to get in the door some places, or really cheap early doors, just to get in with some people. And eventually you'll build up a network of promoters, managers, club owners, things like that, that once you're in the door and you're reliable, you prove yourself to be reliable on a consistent basis, then you'll start to get more attention, more gigs. You can start asking for a bit more money, etc., etc.
So there's quite a natural progression going from a warm-up DJ to a resident DJ and getting a few residencies. Yeah. Obviously, we spoke about that, getting to that point, but then once you go from a residency, how do you then get to, say, a guest set? So someone's booking you for an hour as a DJ, you're not just turning up for 5 hours and playing whatever the crowd want to hear. People are coming to listen to you DJ and obviously you're maybe a bigger name by that point, but where does that transition happen? And I know yourself, Lawrence, you've kind of gone from, you've been a resident DJ, or you were a resident DJ for years, and you took a leap of faith, tried to build a brand around yourself, and now you're doing guest sets. You've recently been out in Malia. Can you remember that time where you thought, you know what, I need to take it to the next level, and why? Yeah,
for sure. So I've been a resident for maybe 8 to 10 years, and just eventually it was getting really repetitive. There wasn't much excitement. I would turn up to gigs, I would know what would happen, I know what songs I was going to play. It was earning a good living, so I wasn't complaining, but just mentally I wasn't pushing myself. And I think back to when I started DJing, it was all about excitement, it was all about trying new things. Things didn't work, things did work, it just got a bit repetitive. And then I started to see a few kind of DJs doing kind of DJ videos and like routines and things online, and I was like, oh yeah, I could do that. But I'd say that to myself for like about a year but I wouldn't actually take any action. I just kind of almost kind of not bitter about it, but maybe just a laziness, or like I say, a bit too comfortable. And I thought, you know what, let's try one, and started putting out live DJ mixes, little routines, 1 minute, 2 minute routines on Facebook. And lo and behold, it didn't take long for them to start growing. And I think, but on the second video, I had a guest book, like 2 guest booking offers from like just doing a second video. So again, it's not like just an overnight thing, even though it was just 2 videos. It was still kind of 10 years of experience knowing how to do the things properly.
I remember when this happened on Facebook, and suddenly Facebook decided that it loved videos and it wanted to go against YouTube and Instagram, because it hadn't even bought Instagram at the time, I don't think. And they wanted to go against these other platforms, and they thought, right, video is the next big thing. We're going to alter our algorithm and we're going to push videos of certain lengths. And people started to use that to sort of market themselves. And I remember there was a lot of the people that understood that were a lot of the younger DJs, the people just starting out that were very, on it with social media. And they thought, okay, I know how to use social media to my advantage. But then a lot of those DJs weren't necessarily the best DJs out there, that they're putting cool videos out that all their friends liked. But as soon as then someone like yourself with 8 to 10 years of experience, I can see how that didn't take too long to gain traction, because you kind of put all of those skills that you've learned over those 10 years and showcased it. It's like a little show reel, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that because on my particular case, because I was doing it on, I use Serato, but I still use Technics to use a vinyl with the control vinyls on it. I think a lot of people had seen people DJ on, like the new generation coming up and seeing people just on controllers kind of thing. So I thought I think the initial impact was like, oh, well, it's a bit of a different kind of vibe to it. And they just started to take off from there, and they did really well. And then before you know it, within kind of 6 months of putting out maybe 1 or 2 videos a month, I was getting maybe 2 guest sets a month and things like that. And it's just carried on from there, really. Nice. Yeah.
So marketing's played a big part in obviously your transition, but there's a flip side of that. I know, Danny James, as a DJ, you haven't really like jumped on the marketing thing and making DJ videos like Lawrence has, but you've had some big successes. You've supported. You go for it. Like, tell us about it.
I felt with like where I was as a DJ is I've never been the type of guy to post about everything I'm doing on social media, things like that. Like, not that I see anything wrong with that. It works wonders for some people, but for others, it's not always the same. So I felt with like the way that I just like to actually DJ and go out and play, and then if anything was to come off of that, then I felt great about it. Like, I was never the guy who was like, oh, look at me do this and that. That's just how I felt personally.
Yeah, of course.
But like I said, there's so many people who've done it so well. I mean, like Loz, he's like you said, he's built this whole thing from being a resident to then doing all the
and it depends what your vision is. It depends what you consider to be successful in your own mind. If you want to reach for the stars and be the next kind of David Guetta or something like that, then you're gonna have to put in a lot more. You're gonna have all areas are gonna have to be covered. But you might be happy with a weekend residency and then getting the odd kind of booking. That's perfect for you. Whatever suits you.
And I know, Danny, you're very into your music production, and you sort of saw the avenue of, right, I want to make my own music and try and build myself as an artist for my music, and DJing goes alongside that. And obviously recently you're starting to get a few little bookings through your sort of artist alias.
That's like the route that I felt I wanted to go down more, because I'd always done production on the side, and then we'd been a resident for a few years as a full-time job. I was like, this is great, but I felt I would have more of a drive to be like something that I was super passionate about. Not that I wasn't passionate about the gigs I was doing. Like, I loved doing them, and I always put my best efforts into them.
But your next step was...
I felt like my next step was, okay, artist. If I wanted to go further, I'd like to, be in that position where I get to be booked to be playing my own music as an artist.
So then tell us about the last 2 years. Have you had any big DJ sets where you've played alongside big names, or anything coming up that you're super proud of, that you think is kind of a step beyond just your usual residencies?
Yeah, so like at the minute, I still feel like in where I'm at in my career now, I feel like I'm a bit like up in the air, like I'm still in like a transition between resident to artist. It's like I'm not fully there yet, and I kind of like it though. Like I kind of like being in this,
doing both.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm still doing my weekly Saturday residencies that I've done for the past few years, and it's great. But that's a night where I get to try out the music that I'm making.
Yeah.
So like the music I'm making is house music, and it's a house music night, and it kind
Goes
of
hand in hand.
It's a sweet spot.
Yeah. So I mean, I love playing there still, but like as an artist, there's like these gigs that are starting to come in now where I'm going on tour with one of my friends who's doing like a tour of the UK. So I'm like one of the support acts for that, which is like absolutely great. That's something I've always wanted to do.
Sick.
And then within the past few years or so, I've done like a few, like room 2 gigs for big artist nights, like in London, Manchester, stuff like that. Like, but just like as an artist, it's like a stepping stone to
for sure.
Yeah. And they were big venues. They're reputable venues here in the UK. So I mean, it must have been amazing, even though you weren't necessarily like being booked as a main artist there. Obviously, you were in a second room, but you got to play these big. What was it? Printworks
in London and Warehouse
Project in Manchester. So anyone from the UK will know those names. But if not, these are like super clubs or super venues. And just to be able to get a glimpse into that side of the industry, it's totally different to the residency game. You're playing in these big venues that only artists really get to play in.
Yeah.
And even if it is an early set and there's not many people in your room, it's still an amazing experience. And you can see what the avenue, that side of the industry, and again, leveling up into becoming an artist rather than a guest DJ. There's 2 different sides there, and both of them are sat either side of me, which is quite nice. I think it's a good time to maybe reach out to Holland, give him a ring and see if he's available.
Tell him to put his beer down.
Yeah, he'll be having fun out on the sea.
Do some actual work.
I don't know what the signal will be like.
Hopefully, all right.
He's in Greece, so
he'll be driving the ship.
We'll see. We'll ask him how he ended up where he is, and
let me get this right. He's on a yacht, right? So we'll ask him.
Yeah.
Can you all hear that?
I can hear that.
Okay.
He's sacked if you don't answer.
Okay, he might be setting up.
Here he is.
Hello?
Oh, hello.
Oh, hey.
The big man.
Can you hear us?
I'm good. How are you guys? Yeah, I can hear you perfectly well.
Sick.
Nice. Well,
how are you, mate? How's your tan?
It's coming on better than last time, that's for certain. Better than last time. So yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too bad, thanks. We just finished setting up a beach bar. We've had a bit of a change in our plans. So the bar and nightclub we're meant to go into is too busy. We can't get 20 boats into the harbour there.
Right, break it back. Bring it back.
right. We need to tell the audience, the people that are listening, before you dive in. I know you're excited, but we need to tell them where you are. You need to explain why you're there and where you are. So tell everyone. Everyone's listening.
I was expecting you to ring me and record straight away. Right. I am out in Greece on an event called Yacht Week. And what Yacht Week is for the customer's point of view, you pay your money and you fly out to Greece and you get on board a yacht with 10 of your closest friends. And we sail every day to a different port, to a different island, and we party. Part of that partying is nightclubs and bars on the islands, and I'm chosen, thankfully, to come out and DJ on behalf of Yacht Week, rather than having a local Greek DJ. They bring DJs from all around the world, so there's a couple from Paris, a couple from America, a couple from Australia.
Okay,
and myself, and this is what we do.
That's next level. This episode that we're currently in the middle of is about leveling up and going from resident local DJ, which you also are, but then getting to those bigger gigs, getting the next level gigs. How people could transition to there, and I'd quite like you to break down to the listener. How have you ended up there? You play in the local towns, and the local pubs.
It's quite an interesting story, actually. And Crossfader played a big part in it. Basically, a girl who works at the bar I'm resident at home, she works for Yacht Week as an intern. We run these in Croatia, Greece, Montenegro, and BVI. And she is a part of the Croatia event staff. And that's how I knew about it. But then she, thankfully, got the email address of the director of entertainment and passed it on to myself. And then I happened to be at Rise Festival with Crossfader, working for Crossfader out there last year, when I got this email. And I don't normally get opportunities like this, so I didn't really know what to put in my email, but I was just very open and honest and said, hi, I've been passed your email address Love the events. Followed you on social media. I know what you're doing. Bit of background about myself. I know Georgia. She's passed on your email to me. I'm currently at Rise Festival, so without sounding too big-headed and bragging, I was just saying, I'm out at Rise Festival, so I'm already doing a cool gig, trying to make myself look better. And I'd love to get involved. And he emailed back and said, I'll email you back at Easter time. Thanks for getting in touch. And I thought, well, I'll never hear anything back.
Because that's quite a big gap. That was December to Easter.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. 3-4 months. Yeah. So, he thankfully did email back. I was going to follow him up in Easter anyway and just say, hi, me again. Not being too pushy, but just re-awaring him of my presence. But it all stemmed from basically having a conversation with someone I knew who did something cool and saying, I'd love to do that.
Well, you know what it is as well, Holland. Sorry to interrupt, mate, but we were just talking about, I was saying earlier about how it took me about a year to actually put a video out, but it just shows when you put yourself out there, like, don't be afraid of somebody saying no. Like, the worst that could happen is saying, sorry, 100%. We've already booked our DJs. You're like, no problem, just take my email for future, etc. But here you are anyway.
Another really good thing about putting yourself out there and letting yourself be aware, let other people know you're aware of your availability, is that should something happen to one of the other DJs, should someone drop out,
for sure,
they've always got your contact details then, so then they can get back in touch with you.
Yep. Very good point. Very good point.
So keeping not badgering and not pestering people, but letting people know your availability can always be.
I think
be beneficial.
One of the biggest takeaways from this is that you doing a good job in your hometown, in your local bar. You never know who's working there, who's going as just someone on a night out. You never know who's going to those places. So if you've got these, say, smaller opportunities like residencies or smaller gigs, don't take them for granted too much. Don't underestimate who's actually listening.
And you never know. Another point to consider is what you're doing on the wider scale as well. Not only what you're doing in your own gigs, so being professional and punctual and doing a good job in your local gigs, so you don't know who's watching on and listening to you, but also on your social medias as well. Anything that's public, just keeping an eye on being professional at all times. Try not to get caught up in trends and things that might jar people off. People take a lot of daft stuff that shouldn't get involved in DJing, but they take it to heart. Like, try and avoid jumping on trends and political things and whatnot, because you never know who you might alienate without realizing so. Without realizing you're alienating people, you may be doing so. So, like, social media is a massive part of our jobs these days and a massive part of our lives. But if it's public and you're representing yourself as a DJ, as a business almost, because you are a self-employed DJ, just remember, you've got to be professional all the time, because you have no idea who might possibly be looking at you.
And also, I know he's too humble to say this, but he also played at Leeds Festival last week as well. You might have seen it on the Crossfader YouTube.
That was it's quite a magical gig. It's been a bit of a mad couple of weeks. Yeah, that was a funny one as well, getting that gig, because everyone asked me how I got that gig. A friend of mine, thankfully, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you how he got the gig, because this is a great story as well. Basically, he was DJing in the campsites at Leeds Festival, and that's like quite an easy thing to get hold of. You can apply online to Leeds Festival directly to DJ in these campsites. So that's quite an easy route into this. And he was walking past the stage one night, 5 a.m. or something, after he'd finished his bit. This was on Thursday, and the festival runs through till Sunday night. And he walked up to this person on the stage, like behind the stage, and said, "How do I go about playing on this stage?" And the guy kind of laughed and said, "Come back at 5 a.m. on Sunday morning, and you can play for an hour." Now, his intentions by saying that was like, "Oh, go away, you'll never come back. He's just another drunk kid." Everyone asks. Well, 5 a.m. Sunday morning, Danny rocks up with his headphones and his USBs and his CDs. They're like, "I'm here, I'm ready to go." So,
amazing.
True to the word, they're like, "Okay, we weren't expecting this, we'll put him on." And 7-8 years down the line, he's now helping book the DJs for that stage.
Amazing.
Wow.
So, I'm fortunate enough to be friends with him, but he said to me, one of the earliest conversations I ever had with him when I met him, he said how he never takes anyone onto that stage who asks him directly.
Right.
Because he says, like, he'd rather, like, listen and choose people on their own merit and their own credit. than someone who's just trying to befriend him to get a leg up.
Yeah.
Well, amazing.
Good advice.
Kind of had to patiently stand by year after year and watch other people go, have the opportunity to go. And just bide my time and just think if I'm working hard enough, even though he's a close friend of mine, it'd be very easy to him, come on, do us a solid here, get us in there. Amazing. But I didn't. I just bided my time, and eventually the opportunity came knocking, and I took that, and that was back in 2018. And then this year, obviously, I got to go do it again.
We've all seen the video, and it's absolutely unbelievable.
So anyone listening or watching this on YouTube, if you want to go and check out Holland play to 5,000 people on this stage at 4 a.m. in the morning or whatever time it was,
one of the biggest festivals in the country.
Yeah, go check out Crossfader's YouTube channel, and you can watch it the whole hour. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was a brilliant experience, and it's just the way everything's fallen time-wise. I'm very fortunate to now be out here. This was organised way before Leeds Festival was, so the timing of it all was perfect. It makes me look probably a bit more of a superstar than I actually am.
I just hope that you can get your head through the door when you walk back in.
Yeah, I'm going to say, yeah. But it's a brilliant experience, and I'm just currently... all the guests are arriving. I'm on a private island on a beach, and all the guests are on like the big swings in the sea.
Nice.
All on the day beds, and we've just they've hired in. You'll love it. They've got a full PA system and lighting rig. I'm talking 2 sub boxes and tops either side, 4 moving heads, wash lights, the entire lot. Yep. This is all on an island. It's illegal to own a car here. I asked the guy how he got it here, because there's only like 1,000 people live on this island, and the only cars that are allowed here are service vehicles, so ambulances and garbage wagons.
You're going to tell me it came in an ambulance?
No, it's even better. Well, I'm not sure. I feel a bit sorry for them. The subs came by boat, but the rest of it came by donkey.
Oh my God!
Jesus. I feel bad for those donkeys.
Gives you an idea of how remote we are. Yeah, I feel bad for the donkeys, Rob. I'm told they are very well looked after.
Good. Good. That's what we like to hear.
You're playing on a private island with £10,000 worth of subs, and
some donkeys.
I'm looking at the window here. It's about to rain. It's about 20 mile an hour winds, man. So enjoy your week.
Right. Well,
I'm trying. I've got another week here.
I think the main takeaways for the listener is you never know who you're playing in front of or to when you're playing just smaller gigs or local gigs. So take it seriously and do your best to impress at all times. And also, even if you have contacts in the industry, don't badger them and try and force a gig out of them. Just show your skills and just be patient and know that people are watching you and people are keeping an eye on you.
Put yourself out there as well.
Yeah, put yourself out there.
Yeah, exactly. Even when you don't think people are noticing you, and it can feel like that. There can be, there's been years, like I said, when I was knowing of the Leeds Festival gig and seeing other DJs going, and they deserved it.
But you had that little bit of bitterness.
It was like, a little bit. Of course it did. But you never act on your jealousy, and it's okay to admit you're jealous of seeing other people do big things, because everyone's bound to do. If you want to do well yourself, you are going to be jealous of other people doing good things. But the main thing is just to bide your time. And just know that if you keep doing the right things and you keep presenting yourself in the right way and presenting your skills correctly, your opportunity is around the corner. Yeah. It just may not be there yet. Sure. So just don't give up easily and act professional at all times. And also encourage other people to do well, because they'll like you more. And if other people are doing well, they'll help you do well in return. Yeah. But try not to get, because I know DJs can be very bitter at times and very diva-ish.
Yeah, but it's how you use that bitterness though, and how you use that jealousy. Like you can have kind of a desire inside you that you look at somebody who you want to achieve to be, and you can make it do one or two ways. You can look and sit there and be jealous and slump in your chair and say, I should do that, I should be doing that. But getting off your seat and actually going and doing what the other person's doing takes a different character. So it just depends who you want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all worked in the industry how long, and we all come from the same area there and thereabouts. And we all took our own paths to get where we are now. And ironically, eventually, all our paths crossed at Crossfader. Yeah. But, at no point was I hating what you guys are doing, because I think when you encourage success, other people will be more inclined to encourage you to be successful as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Sure.
and all the people that used to hate on myself, and I'm sure you guys had some hate as well, they don't seem to be about anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's because people that breed negativity always fall to the side. And but
Positive vibes.
Everyone, keep positive.
Your grind, keep your grind, and you never know when your next opportunity is going to be around the corner. You never know who's watching. You never know who's watching, because social media and the invention of Instagram and all these things, people watch more than you think.
Yeah, I mean, you can post a video and say it's like a DJ video, and you'll have kind of 5,000 views and you'll have like 100 likes. So it's like, you know people are watching it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Not everyone likes it.
Well, I mean,
people want to watch it.
But they're watching it.
Yeah.
Cool.
For example, when I got out here the first time, the Greek DJ barely spoke a word of English. He recognised me from Crossfader videos and gave me a massive hug.
Yeah.
So you don't know who's watching and who's doing what. So just stay professional, keep it your grind, and keep happy. So it's an enjoyable ride when you get to the end, and I'm sure everyone will do that puts the effort in and deserves it.
Yeah,
nice,
amazing.
Right, we're going to let you get back to your amazing life in Greece, and we'll continue with the podcast.
Thanks, guys.
No, it's been a pleasure. I hope you have a good time.
Have a beer on me, mate.
Thank you. I miss you all dearly, and I'll see you soon.
See you soon, man. Take it easy, bye.
God, what a life!
I know.
What is going on?
Making us all just feel pretty. We're all feeling pretty jealous right now.
So jealous, mate.
Just like we were talking about. But we're really happy for him, obviously.
Absolutely buzzing for him.
It's an amazing experience, and it's nice to see he's very, very much this year taking it from that resident DJ, and he's starting to get these bigger gigs and starting to push his marketing more. He's starting to do more. That's really helping him grow as a brand and a DJ. And that's all. He's right on the cuff of that at the moment. So very exciting to watch. Right, let's switch.
Story time.
Right, I did have a story, but I've switched it up in light of this theme.
Oh, nice.
So this is a story about when I high-fived Conor McGregor. So you're listening now, aren't you?
Oh,
you're listening now. So when I first started doing my first ever kind of DJ video, I thought, I need something catchy. I need something to get people's kind of eyes at the screen. So I did this video. It was Conor McGregor versus bass. So I just sampled a load of Conor McGregor.
I remember this.
Yeah, so it was like 2-3 years ago.
I remember.
So I just sampled loads of Conor McGregor, all his phrases and all his jokes and stuff like that. And I just kind of scratched and did loads of little routines over like bass and house and things like that, like a 2-minute routine. And then I posted it, and I text all my friends and people I know. I was like, "Will you please share this? Please share this." And it had about I don't know 200 views. I went to bed and I woke up and it had like 20,000 views. I was like, "Oh wow!" And I didn't really know what going viral was then. I didn't know if that was good or whatever. So so that video went crazy, and I think I did like 200,000 views total. So about a month later, I get a call, and it goes somebody from Manchester, and they say, "Oh, we're putting on this event in Manchester. We've seen your routine, and we want you to come and do it." I was like, "Oh, amazing!" I was like, "Who is it for?" He goes, "Oh, Conor McGregor's doing a live talk, like a meet and greet, a lunch, like a lunch with meet Conor McGregor."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh wow!" So it's like, "I want you to come and DJ for it." I was like, "Oh, amazing!" So I go there, and it's it's obviously around. There's like 5,000 people in there. So I go there, and in the corner, there's 5,000 people in front, and in the corner is like a big throne. So he does his talk in kind of the other conference room, and then everyone piles through to the party room. And so I'm DJing, and Conor McGregor comes and sits down, and then I just do the routine kind of thing. And he's drinking. I'm looking over. I don't know if I'm too in the routine. I don't know if he's watching or not.
Yeah.
So anyway, so my set finishes. So I run to the toilet. As I'm going to the toilet, I go through the wrong door, bust in there. Conor's in there with security, and as I walk past him, he just gives me a high five. And so I reach in my phone from my pocket, and I left my phone in the DJ booth. So I couldn't get like a photo or anything. But there you go. Just put yourself out there. Yeah. You never know what can happen. You might be high-fiving Conor McGregor anytime soon.
That's a cool story.
It's a cool story.
I like that story. That's definitely one to repeat a few times. Okay, so diving back into leveling up as a DJ now, something that we've kind of touched on, but something to be aware of when leveling up is riding the wave. A lot of bigger gigs or bigger opportunities can come from actually doing something a lot smaller. If you get involved in a brand that is very small at the time, maybe someone's just starting an event and suddenly that event takes off, or suddenly that company grows, or they decide to launch a whole new avenue that is, parties abroad. That can take you to another level because you're already in with that company or in with that event from the start, and they trust you, and you can grow with that brand. That's something that happened, especially with me, and then that passed on to you, Danny, with Rise Festival. It's a skiing and snowboarding festival in France, and the people that run that festival just ran student nights years and years ago, and they still do, but they started off by running student nights in our hometown, and I was just a local resident. I started as a warm-up and then became a resident DJ, and it was only like 5, 6, 7 years later that they then suddenly branched out into doing festivals, and straight away we were the first people to be asked. The people that they trusted, the people that were residents and that had worked for them for years, they go, right, we're going to bring you along to this festival that we're launching. And the festival was small to start with. And then the following year, through Crossfader, they reached out and they said, why don't you run a DJ competition and bring some other new DJs out? So then Crossfader got the opportunity to run a DJ competition and actually take a couple of DJs out for a few years straight. And we had this partnership with them, and that helped build the Crossfader brand. It helped give opportunity to a new wave of DJs through this competition, and that all came from me just working as a warm-up DJ and a resident DJ for this small brand that I just happened to grow with, and I stuck by their side and did a good job. So that's, has anyone else got any other story? I know, Danny, you came out to Rise Festival with us last year.
I've done 2 years for Rise now. One was with a night that I was resident for. The Rise Festival basically booked this night I was a resident at as like a collective to go out and do like our kind of night pretty much.
Like play your kind of music.
Sure. But that's another big thing is like, I would say that if you are a resident at a night, like a lot of big things can come from that as well. Like there's, big nights have scopes to book big artists, like there's clubs that the event might be at that have a lot of booking power and can book a lot of big artists to come and play at these nights. And you might be the person that they put before this big artist. It was when I first like got into Leeds DJing, like, a load of nights a week, like all of a sudden it was like from playing little clubs to doing like the odd set to then warming up for Pendulum one week. And I was like, oh my God, it's like someone I'd listened to for years and years. And it's like,
is that from a brand suddenly going from just having the resident DJs to deciding that they wanted to book artists and book acts?
That's the thing, it's like these nights that they can book these artists, and then that's it. Like you're already in with that night, and the artist is like the guest coming along to that, and it's like that is your home as a resident. And it's like a really good position to be in, and then you can put yourself in front of that artist and be like, all right, I've played before this artist, and it's like just another thing to add to you that's like, you feel good about.
I mean, there's two things that I know we've all warmed up for different artists and come on after different artists. We'll talk about that in a second. But one thing I just wanted to jump in with is that if you get any opportunity to play with, to warm up for bigger artists, to do bigger gigs, to do any of these things that we're talking about, make sure you document it. Make sure you take any media that you can, whether it be pictures, whether it be videos, whether it be a recording of the night and the set. Yeah, voice tags from an artist. Ask them if they can do a shout out to you on your phone, and then you can use that in your mixes to promote your name and your brand. And if someone's saying, it's Pendulum here and you're listening to Danny James at the start of a mix, people are like, okay, well, credibility. So don't just take the opportunity and play that gig. Also document it. Also use that as promotion and going back to marketing, use it to market yourself, because these are big opportunities that another promoter will look at and go, well, if that DJ is good enough to play before that act, then I don't even need to think twice. They're going to be good enough for my night. And that in itself is a way to level up.
It's not even just like events either. A lot of it is down to venues like O2. I've been a resident there on a Saturday for a few years now, but then from them seeing me play week in, week out there, they like invited me to do warm-up acts for other big nights that they've had. So like a few years ago, they had, like as a random booking on a Friday, they had Marshmello, Jaws and Ghastly, who were all like absolutely massive now, but at the time they were just like these people coming through, and I got the opportunity to warm up for them just from being a resident at that venue.
And they trusted, they knew they could trust you to play the right.
Yeah, so like that's the thing is like, I think not just focusing on being a DJ for just the night that you're playing at, but being a good DJ all round and, you know, impressing the right people.
100%. Okay, so who's everyone warmed up for and played after, and any stories or takeaways?
Well, I mean, I've done. You said Chasing Status. I've done Jazzy Jeff, Chasing Status. I did a tour with Tom Zanetti, who's a big kind of UK artist over here. Tiny Temper, Pendulum. So like all the Radio 1 DJs. So many, and I think, you know, to be trusted, there's a difference. I mean, when you're warming up for acts, if you're a resident DJ, you might have to change your set a little bit because you don't want to be taking the shine off the main artist. So there's no point, Chasing Status coming and doing a DJ set after you, and 10 minutes before you're playing some Chasing Status songs. I mean, it's just obviously it's common sense when you say it out loud, but you know, if you're starting out, you might get, it's very easy to get carried away and so excited, and going 100% in your set, you need to kind of scale it back a little bit. Whereas on the flip side, when I did the tour with Tom Zanetti, it's a little bit different because I'm not gonna interfere with his set, his live show is everyone should come to see him anyway. So you can go in 100% before him because it's a captive audience there. They're not going anywhere. They're waiting for the act. So you can't really overshine him because they're here to see him.
And he's like a live PA as well. So it's a different thing. If you have a DJ coming on who's a big time DJ, who's a very music orientated DJ, that's going to play a specific type of music, then your job as a warm up for that DJ is to get the crowd ready, but not overexcite them. Get them warmed up, get them ready for the act to come on and absolutely smash it. So the better you can make that act look, the better your warm up is really. If you can hold back enough so that the crowd are just on the verge of sort of being, ready to just let loose, ready to go crazy when this act comes on, and that's a great warm up, because if you peak that crowd too soon, then the main act is going to struggle and claw his way to try and get through that set, because suddenly the crowd's energy is up here and it can only go down. It can't go much higher. So you've got to sort of bring that energy up to a level where it has that tipping point and it can go higher. And that's where the act, if you do a great warm up, an act will thank you, and probably personally thank you if you do a good warm up, because they appreciate how important a warm-up is. Unless you're warming up for Tiny Temper and he doesn't turn up until 10 minutes before the club's about to close.
Oh, wow.
then
you can play whatever you want, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I had a tricky one, actually. So similar to you, Danny, I used to play for a club in Leeds. It was a super club, and I used to play there Saturday night as a resident. And then they started to bring on acts, and it was when the EDM scene was blowing up. So they brought in Oliver Heldens, they brought in Martin Garrix, they brought in Nervo, they brought in all these huge acts to the city. And because I was their main Saturday night resident, I got to do warm-ups and come on after them. And one of the most daunting things was they booked Martin Garrix just before Animals dropped and blew up. So it was the perfect time to book him. And they had, I think on the same night, they had Oliver Heldens, because he wasn't that big at the time either, and someone else, I can't remember now, I don't know, someone else. And Martin Garrix was the main headline, so he went on as like the third act. So everything had been played. I was like, there's a lot of energy in EDM, and I'm coming on after all of these main acts to kind of close the club and to finish the night off. And I thought, well, everyone's seen who they want to see. What am I going to do to try and keep an audience here for another hour and a half? The club was packed, absolutely packed out. And then you also have the stress of the changeover as well. So I can't be like a diva DJ and getting in the way of Martin Garrix finishing his big set and plugging things in or changing things over. Even getting, I just had to stand there with my headphones and a USB ready to just kind of, okay, he stops, the music goes dead, and you're like, right, quick, find a song, you've got to find that song you're thinking of. And that was a big opportunity for me to think, right, can I impress here? If I remember rightly, if people are interested, the track I played, it was a remix of, it was like a mashup. It was Wonderwall, so it's a big sing along, and it had the rock, We Will Rock You, dum dum ka, dum. Oh
yeah, I've heard you play that before.
So it starts with that. So it's a very interactive song. So everyone can start the dum dum ka, the clapping, and then everyone sings along, and then it builds up into some remix of Oasis Wonderwall. And it went down really well, and I had the biggest grin on my face. I thought, even if just this one song, it held a decent amount. But it was still, I really enjoyed the set after, and people did stick around, which was amazing. But that, even coming on after artists, you've got to really think carefully. You can't just go and do the same set as them. But it's also a big opportunity for you to say, I've played alongside these other artists.
Oh yeah, you can big it up, big time.
You can big it up from there. Who else? I played after Fatboy Slim as well, which was really cool.
Where was that?
Nice.
That was at the Warehouse in Leeds.
Oh, wow.
And that again, the big super club that I was playing at, where I played with Martin Garrix, it was the same people who owned that club actually owned the Warehouse at the time.
Right.
And they had all this booking power. They were bringing lots of acts to the city. And because I was in there with them at that point, and I'd worked with them for a while, I was kind of their go-to to play after or before a lot of these acts that they were bringing to the city. So I had so many opportunities with them, and that was another one that I had to plan my set before, because I thought he's such an open format. He's DJ. He's been around for so long that I had to have so much ready, but I didn't have a set planned. I had to have like lots of music ready because I didn't know what he was going to play as well. Because he could have taken it so many different ways. And again, that was another thing that I could use to bolster my CV.
That's about reading your crowd as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, what are other ways that you could level up as a DJ? I'm just thinking here. DJ competitions.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about DJ competitions?
Well, I've actually just hosted one, so I've seen the benefit of DJ competitions. I mean, the biggest one to note, I think, we used to be friends with Danny Howard, who now has been a Radio 1 DJ for, 5-6 years now, but he used to be a resident at a club that I used to work at, and I remember him entering a Radio 1 DJ competition.
Yeah, the Ibiza one.
The Ibiza DJ competition, and now he's, one of the biggest DJs, well, around the world. He's on Radio 1 and primetime dance anthems kind of thing. So definitely put yourself out there. I did one as well because I wanted to use kind of my social media base to give opportunities as well. So I did a DJ competition last year. It was to come out and play with me in Zante and Malia. And it was amazing. We had over maybe 200 entries. Wow. And it's great exposure. And, for me personally, I get a lot of advertisement out of that for myself, so it works both ways. And then for the DJ themselves, that I ended up getting one to come out and play with me in Malia before my set, and then one of them also played at Reading Festival this last weekend as well. So again, putting yourself out there, you never know.
Bravo for providing so many opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've got to ask though, so how do you narrow down 200 people? The people that are listening that are going to be entering DJ competitions, what do they need to be doing? How can they stand out? What caught your attention?
So initially, I've seen a lot of competitions, and I didn't want it to be necessarily a popularity contest. So there was a few that got loads and loads of views, and it'd been very easy to pick that because essentially that you're picking the most popular DJ, and promoting your mix is as important as the mix being good itself. So it is a skill as well to be able to promote your mix and get ears on your mix. So that was a main factor, but it was a combination of listening to the mix, which mix did I just enjoy as a DJ, and coinciding with how well have you promoted this mix. So shout out to Benny G, who won the competition. His mix was so creative, super creative. Didn't have the most listens, but he was sending me like on a weekly basis, like him doing like live routines in clubs. You know what I mean? So I saw the effort going in there with it as well. So again, it's just about thinking outside the box, putting the effort in. And he was ended up DJing at Reading Festival like 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
Yeah, so
that's cool. Being on the other side of a DJ competition, when I was a working DJ, I was a resident. I was doing quite well at the time and had quite a few residencies, but they were all quite sort of commercial student gigs. And in the city, there was an old school hip hop night that I really wanted to play. It was just a really cool event. Now, this event only had like 200 people. It was in a small club, but it was one of those gigs that it was a goal. I wanted to try and play at this kind of night. And anyway, they ended up doing a DJ competition to try and find a new warm-up and potential resident for their event. And it's a really reputable brand at the time, like in the city, but it was just a small brand that had 200 people every month that came. But I still wanted to sort of enter that, even though I was playing to way more people at bigger events. It was more like about playing the right gig. So anyway, I entered this little DJ competition. It was in this tiny little bar in the city. There were like I don't know, maybe 10 people that entered, and we all just got like a little 10, 15 minutes to shine on the decks.
Yeah.
And then if anyone sort of stood out. And anyway, I remember sitting there and I was waiting. It wasn't run very well. We were all just sat in this bar and there's just call the next person up and we'd have a jam. And I remember sitting there, I was like, oh, no one's called me up yet. And I was just really shy at the time as well anyway. I was like, right, everyone else has played, like, and they seem to be like finishing up now. I haven't played. Go up to, I haven't played yet. I'm like, oh, you're here to enter? Yeah. I've been sat here for like 2.5 hours listening to everyone else DJ. So I'm just waiting my turn. Like, all right, go on. You go up then. You go up. So I went on. I was the last DJ there. Loads of other people had left by that point. But I had a little routine in my head, and I knew the night inside out. I knew what worked to that night because I used to go to it and I used to enjoy it. So I already had something planned that I hopefully would impress the judges because I'm playing basically to their audience. So I did something. I was using acapellas and switching out the instrumentals underneath with old school hip hop tracks and doing all this stuff and cutting it up. And obviously it must have stood out compared to the other DJs. And suddenly, oh, whoa, cool, right. Can you go warm up? No, can you go and play at the night now? Because they were running the night that evening.
Yeah, so it was before.
So it was before the event, yeah. So they're like, right, just go down. Let's take you down now and you can play tonight. I was like, sick. Amazing. That is sick. And from the back of that, I ended up being a resident for that brand.
Yeah.
I played quite regularly for them. And that was another point where they grew as a company and they grew as a brand. And I started playing, I warmed up for like DJ Yoda and things like that. So that side of the industry. And I had the opportunity to play with artists like that. Or should I say DJs like that. And that was another instance of, I just took a gamble, went to this DJ competition, did my best, but actually grew with the brand beyond that as well and got to warm up for some other acts.
Yeah, so
amazing. That's another instance.
Before, and also on the flip side, before we finish this topic, I've entered maybe 8 or 9 DJ competitions and not one. So it was not just all like win stories, not all successful stories. It's just perseverance, persistence, and keep at it.
100%. And all you're going to do is learn. The bottom line is, even if you don't win, at least you're learning and you put yourself out there. And you never know. People that run those competitions, you might not have won it, but you might have caught their attention.
Yeah.
And they might now have you in their mind for when they next need another DJ and they just need to call someone up and like, well, he impresses at the competition, so just give him a shot. So try and enter as much as you can, put yourself out there as much as you can. And I think that will definitely help you to level up. So just before hitting record on this podcast, we actually reached out on Instagram to ask some questions and see if anyone had anything they wanted answering inside this podcast. So let's go. Danny, have you got the questions?
I do. So first one's from Mark. What is the best way to overcome anxiety/nerves before playing a set?
That is a good question.
It's a good question. I think for me personally, I think everyone's different, but for me, I think like nerves come from like lack of preparation. So if I don't know what I'm getting into, you can feel nerves. So I'm always prepared. We've talked about online about if you're using a laptop, you get your crates ready, get all your folders and music organized in category, just in case you don't know what you're going to play. You're a bit more prepared in that way. And you can also use nerves to your benefit. Some of the best sets will come when you're nervous and you think about it. If you can learn to control them nerves, I think nerves are a good thing as well because it helps you push yourself. I was saying earlier in a podcast about I was being really comfortable in what I'm doing, and then the only time I was nervous was when I was putting myself out there online for open comments. So definitely like nerves can work in your favor if you allow it to, but and always be prepared as well. Like
I feel like it's a good thing to not be too comfortable as well. Sure. Like going back to when I was saying about how I'm enjoying this whole stage of going out of being just a resident to going down like more of an artist route. Like I feel nervous about it. Like I don't feel totally comfortable about it, but I like it at the same time.
And if you're nervous, it means you care about it as well.
Exactly.
It means you're passionate about it. You wouldn't be nervous about doing anything else. That's your passion.
I think you've got to change the way you view it because you're never going to, the question of how do you overcome nerves is almost an impossible question. It's not the question we should ask ourselves. It's how can we use our nerves? And I think just changing your mindset and the way you think about being nervous and the way you approach being nervous will ultimately change the way that you perform as well. Because trying to overcome it, you'll never overcome it. The biggest acts in the world still get nervous before they go on stage.
Yeah, for sure.
Everyone gets nervous. It's a natural thing. So don't be scared of it. Use it. But
it means you're pushing yourself as well.
Yeah. Just know that the worst thing, that yes, bad things can happen. Don't get me wrong, but you can, as long as you don't let it get you down and you move on and you keep your head held up high and you go on to the next gig, even if it was a car crash and you think, oh my God, my nerves got the better of me, I just didn't perform very well, then just know that next time that was your benchmark and you need to try and just do a bit better next time, and then that's a win. Even if it's not amazing still, if it was better than the last time, then you've learned from it and that's a win. So I think just, changing your mindset, I'd say, is trying to look at it from a different point of view.
Cool.
Next question.
Next question is by Ethan. Says, what is meant by reading a crowd whilst you DJ, and how do you do this successfully? There's a lot of answers for this one.
Yeah. So reading a crowd, I'd sort of say is you want to play the music that the crowd sort of want to hear, or maybe they don't necessarily know they want to hear it, but you're playing music that they're going to respond to, react to, dance to, and ultimately stay and enjoy themselves too. Would you all agree?
Yeah. I mean, just look up. I mean, if you're playing a family party, you're probably not going to be wanting to play some trap music. Yep. Do you know what I mean? So that's an extreme version, but it's very easy. I say easy. It comes with experience and just getting your head up, see what people are dancing to. If you're playing a load of, Beyonce songs and girls are singing along to it, don't then flip up and start playing some, Future or whatever.
I think whatever gig you're doing, like Jamie said with that hip hop competition, do your research. So know what night you're about to play.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, know what you're about to do and be ready for anything.
Preparation again. Goes back to preparation.
I remember, this is both questions. I remember the most nervous I used to get was when I used to play, it was sort of guest gigs when I used to play in new cities, or even when I get a new residency, new city. And I know that a residency is great. After you've done a few weeks, it's great because you understand the crowd. Yeah. But you're going to a new city, you're going to a new club, you're going to a new crowd for the first time. And one of the things I always used to do is try and just feel my way through a few different genres. Even, it depends on the night, obviously. Yeah. But if it's just an open format student night, then I'm going to venture my way through a few different genres and listen to the crowd and watch the crowd and think, okay, well, that worked, so I'm going to play more of that. Yeah. That didn't work, so I'm going to stay away from that style of music a bit more. And you start to learn the crowd. Now that helps if you're going to become a resident for that night and keep going back, because obviously you can start to refine your music library to that audience. Yeah. But if you're just playing a one-off gig as more of a guest, then you've got to do that quickly. In the first 10 minutes, you've got to be like, right, this has been working, that's not. Or even look at the DJ that's playing before and think, right, well, what's he playing or what's she playing that is working and what's not. And that's kind of, you just got to, like you said, Loz, is look at the crowd, listen to the crowd.
It's important to not just get too comfortable with that as well. Like, for example, I've done nights that I've done residencies in Leeds, and then they'll take the same brand to another city, which would be an hour away. But just because it works in one city doesn't mean it works in another. So I found like even driving an hour away from home, it's a totally different crowd. It
is big time.
And like there'll be like, it's really strange how not so far away can be so much more educated on music and like different styles of music.
For sure.
Yeah, I think it's just important to be ready for things like that.
Yeah, and it goes back to being prepared, like you said from the last question, is knowing that, okay, if it does end up going this way and down this slight genre path, then have I got enough music to cater for that crowd? Listen, that's my main thing. Listen, when you hear that scream or that whoa, when something dropped, then that's your route. That's what you want to go with.
Try to get that.
Next question.
Cool. Next question is from Jason, and it says, hey guys, should I use my experience as a wedding DJ, putting myself out there to bars and clubs? I ask this because I understand that in the DJ community, wedding DJs can be seen as having minimal DJ skill or talent in some cases. I'm not sure if mentioning my experience as a wedding DJ would hinder my chances of landing a gig in a club setting. Thanks. Also, shout out to DJ Lawrence James for the great work he does on the channel.
Nice.
You're welcome, mate.
Well, I think
he checks in the post.
Lawrence James, do you want to take
it's
this
a good question
first?
Yeah, don't put yourself in a box. I mean, if you're DJing to a crowd, you're a DJ. It doesn't matter if you're a wedding DJ or not. No. If you're DJing events, you're DJing events. You're learning. You've got obviously a wide collection of music knowledge if you're playing at a wedding. So it's kind of no different. The response will be different, but it's kind of no different. At the end of the day, if you're DJing a wedding, you're DJing it's a party environment. So that is so transferable into most kind of commercial bars. If a wedding set is, assume like just sing-alongs and top 40 things like that.
Yeah.
Most bars that you walk down in, wherever you live, will be playing all that kind of music as well. Yeah. So if you've got experience of playing in front of a crowd, that's don't kind of put yourself in a box of, I'm just a wedding DJ.
That's what. Don't feel like once you're like a wedding DJ now, doesn't mean that's all you are going to be. There is more to it. You just got to find the right way to go about it.
I think he's asking the question that should he mention it or say it. I mean, I think you should definitely always talk about your experiences, because they are good. There's good experience. Being a good wedding DJ means you're going to be able to, like you said, be able to play to a crowd, but don't say that, I am a wedding DJ, can I now play in a club kind of thing. It's like, I've got lots of experience playing weddings, so I know how to play to a crowd and a wide range of people. And if that, lends its hand to the venue that you're trying to get in, then great. That they should see that as a positive. And if they don't see that as a positive, then maybe they're not the right venue because they're looking for the wrong DJs. You know,
maybe
definitely start where your strengths are. Look for the gigs and the bars and the clubs that really lend to your style of mixing and what you are comfortable playing, and then venture from there and keep going from there. Once you get your foot in the door in clubs and bars as well, it's a lot easier to get that ball rolling then. But I hope that helps.
Yeah. And the final question says, what is Jamie's favourite meal replacement shake? From DJ Holland.
It is definitely Huel, isn't it?
It's got to be.
I've got to say, he needs to get back to work.
He's supposed to
get off Instagram.
He's definitely had a couple of cans on his yacht.
I know.
Yeah, he's got to be confident.
Big ups to anyone who drinks Huel.
Yeah. Fuel's good.
Human fuel.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not going to say any more about that.
Boom.
Tune of the week.
Tune of the week.
Right, stop what you're doing now. Go and listen to the new Skrillex, Ty Dolla $ign, Boys Noise song, which is called
Midnight Hour.
Midnight Hour. I was driving to a gig last night, and it was 30 minutes away, and I didn't play anything else.
Such a banger.
I just looped it for 30 minutes.
They have like a whole alias as well, Boys Noise and Skrillex.
Yeah.
Dog Blood. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I've said this about Skrillex before. Anything he touches is just absolute.
That's unbelievable.
Sorcery.
The song. It's like I feel like I'm in church, and then 20 seconds later, I feel like I'm at a festival. It's like the maddest song. So, Skrillex, Boys Noise, Ty Dolla $ign, Midnight Hour is probably the best song I've ever heard in my life.
I think I need to go check that out.
Mate.
Was I playing it the other day?
Oh, mate, we'll play it after this.
Yeah.
You were planning a mix, and I was like, it's that new Skrillex.
Yeah. I didn't even know.
Have you got a tune?
UK Apache Shy FX Chasing Status remix of original Nutter 25. So 25 years since the original version was released of original Nutter.
That's mad.
Chasing Status.
I need to say that I went to Creamfields last week with a friend who was playing there, and we went to a lot of stages after we finished. And oh my God, it got played at about 3 different stages.
Oh, did it?
I can imagine.
It was like the tune of the festival,
Sick.
honestly. And it came out that weekend.
Yeah.
But it was so many people knew about it, and it was amazing. It was so good.
It's just got so much energy, and I think they've remixed it in a really clever way. Like it's not too dissimilar, but it's also just got this next level of I don't know, it's very current.
Yeah.
And they've taken a track that's 25 years old, not changed it too much, but just brought a bit of current to it. And it's just
smashed
it. What's it called again?
It's original Nutter 25. That's UK Apache Shy FX, the Chasing Status remix.
There you go.
Yeah, it's banger. My tune of the week is brand new from Scream. I feel like we've all gone into kind of like the dubstep drum and bass kind of this time.
It's true.
I've got Skrillex, Chasing Status and Scream, but I mean it's not a dubstep tune, but it's a Scream Song for Olivia. It's called Song for Olivia. I think it's called that. But
it's like an 80s disco tune.
Is it?
Yeah, really good. Song for Olivia. It's called. It's like a really good just like a dance record with loads of like old 80s sounds, like the old like Juno sounds.
I'm gonna listen.
Absolute banger.
Right, so I think we're just coming to the end of this week's episode. I've just got to say thanks to everyone who's listened or watched if you're watching it on YouTube. Remember, as always, if you're listening on Apple's podcast, then leave us a review or a star rating. It really helps. And if you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and remember to go to wearecrossfader.co.uk and you can sign up into our portal area, and there is a podcast in the podcast area in the forum, and you can start giving more ideas, asking more questions. We'll be posting more on Instagram as well, so you can reach out on Instagram and put your questions in that we'll try answer each week. And thanks again for watching. Thanks.
Cheers for listening, guys.
See you all next time.
See you next time.